Mikri's examination yesterday was rather uncomfortable. Being inspected by a Vaskar who I wasn't convinced had any knowledge to be a medical professional. He'd given Sophia and I a clean bill of health, and sent us to get some rest after the earth-shattering events of the day. It was wild to think we were sleeping under an alien roof, and interacting with one on a regular basis. As grating as our liaison was at times, I knew there were millions of people back on Earth who'd kill to be in my place. Because our medical readiness checked out, the Vaskar asked to check our physical capabilities the next morning. After being cramped in a spaceship for over a month to get from Pluto Station to the Gap, it would be lovely to get a proper workout. The Vaskar had said it was important to ensure our muscles didn't atrophy, after all. I was resigned to the idea of being gross and sweaty without a proper remedy. However, as we woke up, Mikri was standing by a small glass box. Inside was some kind of hose that he'd installed in the ceiling. There was a drain on the floor, which meant the Vaskar could figure out some things without being explicitly told. They didn't like water damage any more than us. When the fuck did he sleep and have time to do this? Unless other Vaskar came in overnight. Also, did he have to park it in the middle of the lobby with zero privacy or curtains? Well, he tried. It's just Sophia and I, and it's not like we've had the luxury of being embarrassed around each other. This is what you asked for. You can shower after our training today, Mikri announced. I forced a smile, despite thinking it was a lackluster attempt. Thanks. Should we get going? Did you eat your rations? As I understand it, you need fuel first. Yes. I know it's POW gruel, but this alien grub leaves something to be desired. It tastes like someone took everything they could find and threw it in a blender. Oh, that is what we did. I didn't realize this was an area of such pickiness. It was protein and minerals from multiple sources. Everything you needed? It's completely fine, Sophia assured the alien. We just eat things separately on most occasions, like whole fruits or meats with a little seasoning at home. That's what we used to from nature, is all. I see. It is difficult to satisfy you. So many things to remember. How do you manage it all? How do you function with the constant burden of your upkeep? I don't know if you'll find this answer satisfactory, but you know what you're used to, Mikri. Tasty food activates pleasure receptors for humans. This is why you wish for it? Chemical releases? I guess. You might as well find enjoyment in anything you do. Take a nice warm shower, for instance. Which you mocked, I noted. It's relaxing. Mikri stiffened, seemingly frustrated. Warm shower. No one mentioned warm. Cold is more than okay, Sophia interjected, shooting me a warning glance. This isn't a 5-star resort, Preston, and it doesn't have to be. I raised my hands and arched my eyebrows. Don't look at me. I mean, Mikri did it ridiculously fast, so I'll give him props for that. And this beats no shower. The Vaskar's segmented claws curled beneath his metal armor. I have given you everything you asked for. Outside. Training. Now. I swept a sarcastic hand in front of me. Lead the way. The Vaskar trudged out the main entrance, not picking up on my mocking tone. Sophia's eye contact said everything. Another reminder to be more gracious with Mikri. The derisive way he phrased all of his questions didn't seem to reflect much improvement. He'd referred to not liking a dry pulp that tasted like baby powder as pickiness, then called our upkeep a burden and us insatiable. I didn't think we'd been the least bit demanding, but in the Vaskar's world, anything above the minimum to keep us alive was asking to be weighted on hand and foot. I'll try to get on his good side and turn the other cheek to his judginess, but Mikri is never going to try to understand us. All it seems like he needs is that trusty suit. What a lucky guy to be so low maintenance. I half listened to Mikri's instructions on running between 2 trees on an inland field, elevated a bit from the sandy beach. The Vaskar wielded some sort of camera, which I imagined he'd roll back to certify our time. In my mind's eye, I remembered just how much faster I'd been goofing off on that asteroid. With a sterner gravity, who knew what we'd be capable of? I pressed a leg against the tree, leaning down like a runner at the starting line. The limitations imposed on us by the other universe weren't here. I wasn't sure Sophia was prepared for our newfound capabilities. I was unconvinced that I was, after ripping off an armrest by accident. "Raise me," I called out, tossing my head. "Come on." The scientist rolled her eyes. "We all know you'll win, soldier boy. One of us has been through boot camp." "That's not the point. Sprint as fast as you can. Let's just say you're about to blow the track and field stars on Earth out of the water. You have to feel this power." "If you insist. Mikri, do you want to count us down?" The alien had finished setting up his camera and was waiting. "Count you down?" "Like, say, 3, 2, 1, go. So we know when you want us to start, since these are your tests. I'm just trying to make this orderly for you. Scientific." "It will not be exacting, but I suppose that is as precise as I can hope for with humans. Very well. 3, 2, 1, go." Before the Vaskar had finished the last unenthused word, I took off. The wind felt like when I'd rode a motorcycle down the streets of Mars's dome, on my time off during basic. It buffeted my body and my clothing, with the raw speed being inconceivable. My eyes couldn't process how fast I was running. It couldn't have been more than 5 seconds before I went flying past the tree, which I would have wagered was 200 meters away. I glanced back toward my partner, grinning from the thrill. Sophia was only a split second behind me, a disbelieving expression on her face. Mikri's stance showed overt surprise as he tore up into the hillside. Unless the flash became real, I couldn't imagine any human had ever run faster. Going back to Earth's molasses speeds after this. Woo! We're speedier than a fucking cheetah. The fastest man and the fastest woman alive. How do you feel about that? I panted, slowing as my lungs began to burn. Sophia struggled to find words. We're only the fastest until other people come through that portal, like actual athletes. Imagine hosting an Olympics here. Mikri, did we knock your socks off? I shouted in a celebratory voice. This idiom's meaning is lost on me, but your pride is not. The Vaskar jogged over to us, taking much longer to reach where we stood. He had some kind of padding over his armor now. I have not seen any life form which can keep pace with a vehicle. This is most unusual. Unusual is exciting. Come on, I know there's something that you can be enthusiastic about. I am enthusiastic about science, but the subject material puts a damper on it. The development of life under the extreme conditions of your universe is of some value, so I am grateful that you are compliant. This is Mikri's attempt at being more polite and courteous. He outright states a dislike for studying us, then softens it by saying our development under quirky physics is of some value. How generous. Sophia smiled at the Vaskar like she'd heard completely different words. I'm very interested myself to compare how life developed in unique ways. The discoveries we're making today can usher in a new future. You never know when you can learn something, Mikri, when you apply those findings elsewhere. Elaborate, the alien said flatly. A human scientist left a petri dish of bacteria out, and it grew mold that killed the colony of microorganisms. This was how we discovered antibiotics. It saved many lives. Revolutionized society by sheer chance. Or an accident. A mistake. This scientist did not discover it by anything intelligent they did. It was a random happenstance that they observed. Exactly. Sometimes things happen differently than you planned, and you make the best of it. We're a random happenstance for you. While I doubt your power to overhaul our society, this is true. I will seek to learn useful things. Will you indulge in a test of your strength? One of you should spar with me. Definitely Preston. He's combat trained. Sophia gave me a worried glance, noting that I looked eager to take a swing at Mikri. If trouble comes around, I'm going full Gordon Freeman with a crowbar and hoping for the best. Full what? The Vaskar demanded. It's a character from a recent game called Half-Life 3. Game? I rolled my eyes. Surely you have some kind of entertainment media that you watch or read, that Vaskar share with each other? Something fun? Educational talks and lessons that are broadcast. Academic literature. Complex simulations of phenomena that can be observed in real time. Wow. This is hopeless. I don't think they have a creative or fun bone in their bodies. Say something positive about that, I guess. That's very intellectual. Good stuff. Anyhow, you want us to fight, or? Yes. I wish to measure your reaction time first, then your strength. Let's start with me taking a swipe at you and you try to sidestep or deflect. Fine. I raised my fists and curled a finger toward myself. Show me what you're made of. The Vaskar lunged forward with a jab. My response was near instantaneous, and I ducked before realizing what happened. He turned and attempted to kick, which I caught in my hands and held him on one leg. I could all but see his moves before he'd made them. It was like my mind was supercharged, the reflexes answering in half of the time it'd usually take. Mikri grunted with frustration, twisting my wrist away and backing up. I could tell he didn't like how easily he'd been thwarted. Right. Blisteringly fast reaction time, the alien said with annoyance. Let's see how strong you are, Preston. Hit me as hard as you can. I narrowed my eyes. Won't that hurt my hand with your armor? The armor isn't coming off. I tied this padding around my chest so that it will cushion your punch. Strike me with everything you've got. What if I hurt you? You will not. I can take it. Come on, just... Before Mikri finished his sentence, I rocked back and plowed my fist into his sternum with all of my might. My knuckles drove clean into the padding, imparting a horrifying amount of force. The alien went flying backward, off his feet, at what must have been 30 miles per hour? He collided with a tree down the hill, where we'd been supposed to run to when he was timing us. The Vaskar's impact was like he'd been shot out of a cannon, and it snapped the very trunk in half. His spine had been what collided with the object. He dropped to the ground, unmoving, while my heart quickened with panic. No one could have survived that. Sophia stared with eyes the size of moons covering her mouth. I raised my hands to my head and gawked in horror. Oh my god. I just killed Mikri. I didn't mean to, but fuck! Now there's no way we won't be enemies, and it's all on camera. What do we do? Telling the Vaskar? What have I done? Is there any chance they'll believe me if I said I didn't know I was capable of that? To my amazement, I saw the alien's arm move. I wasn't sure if it was a post-mortem reflex, the way a lizard's tail could still flop about after it was severed. Mikri seemed to try to stand, but his left leg refused to move at all. That bastard was tough attempting to walk that off. I give him that. We had to get our hands on some of that armor, given that it had kept him alive here. Sophia and I raced over to his side, as apology after apology spilled from my mouth. The Vaskar gave no indication of being in pain, his voice as unfazed as ever. The alien rolled over, revealing that my fist had punched a hole through the cushion. I hadn't even felt that I hit the armor, which was dented. Preston, do you not... Mikri, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, I pleaded, tears streaming down my face. I knew I'd fucked up so bad. You said as hard as I could, and I never thought... I wasn't trying to hurt you. You have to be okay. We can fix this. Tell us what to do. Sophia looked shaken. We must call for help. We just watched you get ragdolled through the air, and you can't move your leg. I'm fine. I have the requisites to patch myself up. If you can help me back to the medical lab. My leg is non-functional. Do not worry. Legs can be replaced, the Vaskar said calmly. What kind of a statement is that? I shrieked. A reassuring one. I am reassuring you. Neither of us were aware that you would have so much strength. You did as instructed. I am not angry. This is an interesting result. It's not interesting. You could have died. I told you, I can take it. And what I was going to say, before you grew emotional over events that cannot be changed, was meant for you, Preston. Do you not see how humans are a threat? You are capable of all of this, and can launch ships going at planet-terminating speeds from portals in our backyard. This is worrying from a military perspective. I see how it's alarming, Mikri, really, and if the roles were reversed, I'd be a lot more freaked out than you are right now. Then we understand each other. It is a start. Sophia hoisted the Vaskar to his feet, and I supported him on the other side. We helped haul him back to the medical bay, though I wasn't sure I liked the idea of him playing whack-a-mole with his legs alone. I felt guilty for harming him, and flabbergasted that my puncher carries such force at the same time. We shouldn't test out any more of humanity's physical capabilities with another living being in the way. We're like superheroes here, Sophia remarked. Mikri tilted his head. Superheroes? We tell stories about fictional characters who have abilities that a normal person can only dream of. Why? That is not real, and also could never happen. That's the point, Mikri. Stories are what-ifs where you test your imagination. You get to know people that never existed, and places that can't be visited. It's an adventure all up in your head. That might sound abstract and silly to you, but it's really a concrete depiction of someone else's vision. Sometimes, they teach lessons about the real world. He won't get it, Sophia. Let it go. The Vaskar hopped quicker on his good leg. This seems silly, to commit memory space to made-up things. All dreams are made-up things until someone makes them real. You have to dream of a thing to create it. You might enjoy letting yourself imagine something fantastical, putting yourself in the shoes of another person and their journey, Sophia continued. Is he capable of imagination? I mouthed at my colleague, though she didn't seem to notice. Enjoy. I find that word irritating, Mikri retorted. Sophia pursed her lips. I know. While you're recovering, I could send you some books I have downloaded on my phone. Maybe you can try to experience them like we do. Just to understand us a little better, since we are your subject material. I'll agree with extreme reluctance. It is my duty. I helped the Vaskar back to the medical bay, not eager to have him disparage the entirety of human art. Sophia's attempts to placate Mikri and form a connection were going to fall flat sooner or later. He wasn't capable of being three-dimensional. After hearing that this species lacked art, I shared his conviction that we were too different to be friends. This alien, with his stilted and condescending speech, didn't appreciate a thing that made humanity who we were.